first round by Benny in their match earlier this year. And he came back and he beat Matt Donovan in the second round, but Donovan was not the kind of a fighter that really you could learn much from that. There's Marvin Hagler and his record as he loosens up in the ring. 28 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and as you can see, he can also throw the knockout punch and put his man.
Pallet right there.
Well, I'll tell you, if that reminds Eugene Cyclone Hart of Benny Briscoe, the Cyclone might be in trouble. There he is, Eugene Cyclone Hart. Both men 24-year-old. They are middleweights. Hart weighing 161 pounds, Hagler 160 this evening. They're getting their official instructions before the start of what should be a dandy scheduled for 10 rounds. Both men with dynamite in their fists. They're wearing the 8-ounce gloves. Reviewing once again the 5-point must system for scoring, the 3 knockdown rule in effect, and of course the mandatory 8 count. It will be in the near corner in the white trunks, Eugene Hart. In the far corner in the dark trunks, Marvin Hagler. And we're set to go with round 1. There's the bell. Hart comes out circling from his right to his left. There's the right hand lead from Hagler. 2 men feeling their way here in the opening seconds of round 1. Hart, after that first round knockout with Benny Briscoe, you never know what that's going to do to a guy in terms of making him overcautious, a little bit gun shy.
You know, after that defeat, Ralph, he kind of went down in the eyes of the fight crowd here in Philadelphia. I wouldn't say down, but I know he kind of lost favor with it. And then he got a couple of pretty impressive wins, and he seems to be coming back, you know, into the limelight, or I shouldn't say limelight, but back into the hearts of the Philadelphia crowd. They can be fickle at sometimes, these sports fans.
You betcha. Marvin Hagler in the dark trunks with 30 professional fights. Hart with 38, though both are the same age. Right hand catches Hart high in the forehead, doing no damage. Neither man has thrown a damaging punch yet. That's Hart missing with a right, and there's a pretty good left hand by Hagler. But Hart is able to shake it off. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first round. Hagler bobbing and weaving. I think it's Hart going in, taking him to the ropes, going to the body now. Getting 2 or 3 into the midsection, and they say keep him up. Hagler is southpaw. Right hand to the midsection by Hart, and Hagler slips, but he's not down, but off balance momentarily and gets off the ropes and out of trouble. Hagler lost his footing in the corner, but not because of a punch. Hart stalking his man. He's been the aggressor, or more of the aggressor here in the first round, although both men fighting rather cautiously.
It's interesting to note, Ralph, that he's fought twice here before, Marvin Hagler, and he's lost both of them decisions, and he had a very controversial decision with Bobby Boogaloo Watts, and which he thought that he had won the fight in January. Then in March, Willie Monroe beat him, and according to Mr. Hagler, it was very convincingly that he did lose to Willie the Worm.
And both men have had their difficulties right here in Philadelphia in the last couple of years. They're trying to set the record straight tonight. We have about a half a minute to go in the round. There's a couple of good right hands. It's the lead by Hagler. And now Hart gets his man against the ropes, but Hagler gets clear of them. Wild right hand is missed. Hart in the dark trunks. Or they're Hagler in the dark trunks, Hart in the white. Exchanging blows in the far ropes, and there's the bell. Ending round number 1.
Well, there seemed to be a lot of punches thrown there, Ralph, but I don't think too many of them landed. A lot of glancing blows, a lot of air was hit, I would say, in that first round. But I think both fighters, being in a must-win condition tonight, are probably a little bit cautious and want to feel each other out a little bit more than probably usual because of the fact that they do both need a win tonight.
Hart has beaten some good people. He's beaten Kitten Hayward, Don Fulmer, and Sugar Ray Seals. Hagler's had a good year so far, Bobby. He's won all 3 fights. As we look at Hart, Hagler's won all 3 of it. There's the buzzer in the warning for the beginning of round number 2. Eugene Hart in the white trunks, the near corner. Marvin Hagler in the far corner in the dark trunks. Right hand lead by Hagler. There's the right again, and then the flicking left counter by Hart. Hart with his back to you now. The southpaw is Hagler. So, of course, he leads with that right hand. The jab. There's the right jab again. Comes up short. And Hart going after his man.
I can see now why he's called Cyclone. He's just going around in circles, chasing him all over the ring. He wants a piece of that Hagler, and he wants it now.
Hagler got on a pretty good punch at the break there. And now again, but he had Hart falling away from the punch against the ropes. No real damage done. But it seemed to steam Hagler up just a bit. Misses with the right hand jab. Hart crouching down low, but neither man able to land any real damaging blows here in the early going. Right jab by Hagler. Another stinging right. There's a left hand lead, and that gets a big smile on Cyclone Hart's face. Hart generally very cautious, except for an occasional whirling dervish move as he made early in this round in the far corner that almost got him in trouble.
That's interesting right. Ooh, right there with Cyclone Hart, he let out kind of a little yell and a smile, and still different strategy, I would think.
Hart with a couple of good blows to the body there. Hart's in a lot of talking.
And a lot of smiling.
Don't know how you can be that happy out there when somebody's trying to knock your head off.
That's for darn sure.
Left hand lead by Hagler and a right jab.
Can you imagine some of the opponents that Schultz's fought smiling at him after he's knocked him around the ice for a while?
Minute to go in round 2. Left hand lead by Hagler. Hagler the southpaw on the left of your screen. Left jab by Hart, and a pretty good left hand to the body by Hagler. There in the far corner. No damage being done.
Most of the blows that Hart is landing is more flicking blows, more than you know. It seems like Hagler's landed the only solid punches in these first 2 rounds, but Hart's thrown the most punches, but like you say, he's not doing any damage.
Now he has Hagler in the corner, and Hagler doesn't like it there, so he gets out quickly. Comes with the left-hand lead, but misses the mark, and a couple of good right jabs. One of them really found the mark. Now Hart gets Hagler in the corner. Hagler trying to punch his way out of it, and Hart trying to keep him there at the bell, ending round 2. Not much to choose either one of these rounds, I don't think, Bobby.
Now I know why a judge's decision is so hard. It's like a referee, I guess. It's pretty tough. Both of them landed good punches, and both of them seem to be aggressive. I would think on if you're going to rule a fight on just sheer aggressiveness, I would think that Eugene Hart was maybe a little bit more so, and Marvin Hagler was a little backpedaling a little bit more. Than there he is, Marvin Hagler, the Yul Brynner of the fight game.
Or Telly Savalas or Benny Briscoe. Take a lot of names nowadays that'll fill that balding bill. Hagler with 22 knockouts and Hart with 28, so both men can throw the big punches. We have not yet seen it from either man so far tonight. Neither man is marked, although I may see a slight mouse under the left eye of Marvin Hagler.
And he received a little extra of coaching there in the corner.
I believe that is a scar from an old wound. Now that I look at it live. And here we go.
Maybe he shaved his eyebrows and cut himself while he was shaving. Yeah.
A little bit low with the razor there. There's a right hand jab by the left-handed Marvin Hagler. He's got a pretty good jab. There's a right hand and a couple of rights by Hagler getting in as he comes out aggressively now, and then comes up with a left, and he goes down. Eugene Cyclone Hart goes down from a left hand by Marvin Hagler. He'll take the 8 count, comes to his corner to get some instruction. They say stand up.
He also told him to be very, very careful. He was getting a little careless, they say, chasing Marvin Hagler around, but he landed a good left-right combination that surprised Cyclone Hart there.
And the Cyclone still has plenty of life in those legs as he's dancing out here. But Hagler now swelled with confidence after landing that left hand that dropped his man suddenly. Eugene Hart down in round 3. And Hagler has him in the corner. With his back to the ropes is Eugene Hart. Hagler, the aggressor now in the third round, taking his man down.
You can just feel the tension in that ring, Ralph. You know, like we mentioned earlier, both fighters need this win tonight, and you can just see it. And maybe with that knockdown, one of them is going to come to life and take control of this fight.
The whole mood changes with a knockdown like that. Still a lot of time to go in the third round. About 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining in round 3. Eugene Hart's been down, but now he's smiling. So Hart has shaken off any ill effects from that knockdown. There's a good left hand by Hagler again. Hart comes right back with a right to the body and a left to the head. But Hagler ducks away from that one with ease.
Hart seems to be a little bit over anxious right now, Ralph. He wants to get right back in this fight, and he's throwing a lot of punches, but they're not connecting.
Hagler, contrarily, is landing most of the punches he throws. A wild right hand by Hart. Not the kind of punch that'll hurt anybody. Hagler misses with a wild right of his own. Hagler with a right to the back of the head. Hart on the left of your screen, Hagler on the right. A pair of middleweights, both 24 years old, both in need of a victory. 40 seconds remaining in round 3. Right hand jab by Hagler does not get in.
If this round fight goes any to the limit, he might be tiring near the end of the fight. Could prove disastrous for him. I think he's going to have to be a little more conservative and be a little more patient and wait his chance.
His right hand there blocked by Hagler's glove. In the closing seconds of round 3, and a big round that is for Marvin Hagler as he drops Eugene Hart for the mandatory 8 counts. That's the first clear-cut round we've had the entire fight, with Marvin Hagler early in the first minute of the fight.
Right there, I think that's the one that hurt him. The right, he's down. The first left was the one I think that stunned him the most. Then the right came in and it set him right up for that little left, and that was like just pushed over the edge for him, and down he went. Here he's getting more coaching.
I think maybe
instruction.
Maybe his aide in the corner is saying, you did it once, do it again, because he was giving the gesture just about the same combination, the left, right, left, that took Hart down. So we go to the 4th round. Good middleweight match here, Spectrum Fights on Prism. We get tomorrow night, the Phillies and the Pirates on Prism TV at 7:30. Hart stalking his man in the corner, but Hagler again gets out of harm's way. That's Hagler with the dark trunks. Hart in the white. Hart was down in round 3. Hart from Philadelphia, Hagler from Brockton, Massachusetts. Hart very confident and cocky the first 2 rounds, talking and laughing. More serious now. A right and a left, another left. They're being warded off by the gloves of Hart, who now battles back with his back to the ropes, and he's angry, but he now has a slight cut in his right cheek, high in the cheek.
He doesn't seem to be as confident, like you say, Ralph, in these last round and this round here. Marvin Hagler seems to be getting stronger and stronger as this fight goes on, and Cyclone Hart seems to be getting a little more unsure of himself.
Right and the left combination again by Hagler. That's been his most effective volley of the evening. Wild right hand by Hart. Missing the mark as he has missed so often this evening.
He's going to have to keep his hands up high, too, because Hagler is starting to score fairly good in there, especially with that cut over his cheek now. He's going to have to keep his hands up awfully high.
Hart swinging mighty punches, but really getting nothing but elbows. There he gets a left hand in. Misses with one left high in the head, but the one left got in good. There's a right and a left. Again, they're being pretty much taken by Hagler's arms. But each man dishing out some punishment here. A couple of left hand leads by Marvelous Marvin. He's going head hunting, and he's finding his mark. Hagler just pummeling the head of Cyclone Hart. Left and a right. Not real hard, solid punches, but scoring punches. Hagler bleeding from the nose. Hart takes a right hand. 30 seconds to go in round 4. Again, the left and the right to the body. Left, right combination to the head. Right uppercut. Countering with the left hand is Hart, but Hart is hurt a bit. No laughing right now.
Gene Hart's going to hope for this bell to come soon, and he's only got about 15 seconds to go to hang on here.
Best round of the fight overall, as both men have dished out some punishment. The bulk of it again by Marvin Hagler. He lands a left and then takes a right after the bell. And being warned for that, and Hagler, who was in a very bright and cheery mood 2 rounds ago, is an angry young man right now.
I think, Ralph, that all those wild punches and that were missing the mark in the first 2 or 3 rounds is starting to pay its toll now on Gene Hart, because he seemed to be an awful lot tireder now. Here it is right here. He's up against the ropes. He can't even seem to get out of the way, and Hagler just seems to be getting through with those short jabs that, like you say, they score an awful lot of points to the judges. And Gene Hart is not the same fighter he was in the first 3 rounds.
Well, his career has taken for him, a disastrous turn in the past year since fighting to that draw with Benny Briscoe less than a year ago. The last 10 months have not been so kind to Cyclone Hart.
The big thing is, they say that if Cyclone Hart loses this fight, they're going to have to take him on the road, because the Philly fans probably won't want to come and see him fight anymore.
That's right. He needs a big win here to keep the home front fans happy. We go into round 5. Marvin Hagler on the left of your screen with the dark trunks. On the right, Cyclone Hart. Hart missing with a left and a right, and now getting Hagler in the corner, and Hagler ties him up. And Hart goes right back after him. I don't get the impression that Gene Hart is especially fond of Marvin Hagler.
No, I don't think so, especially after that last round when he kind of came in with a late punch there after the bell had gone, and I know Marvelous Marvin kind of took exception to that.
The bleeding has stopped on both men. Hagler bleeding from the nose the last round. Hart from the right cheekbone. Hart has Hagler in Hagler's own corner, but Hagler punches his way right out of the corner. He seems to have no difficulty at all getting that right hand jab or the left hand lead such as that one through Hart's defenses.
Gene Hart is very definitely tired. Gene Hart, that's a different. I know of a certain fellow by the name of Gene Hart too that is not in that kind of condition.
Well, he is a heavyweight. These are middleweights. But Gene, not quite the heavyweight he used to be. He's lost about 55 pounds, and he's so proud of it. He'll talk about his diet for a month if you ask him.
Just wait for the free cokes of the press rooms.
Yeah, there's Hart with Hagler in the corner. Hart has Hagler against the ropes. Hagler has been pretty successful just punching his way out of that kind of difficulty earlier. We're halfway through round number 5. Hagler trying to do more damage to Cyclone Hart. Well, it's amazing how a man's mood can change when you think of all the laughing and talking that Cyclone Hart was laying on his man. Now he's shoved back and almost falls down from exhaustion.
Oh, he is really tired, Ralph. And Hagler seems to be, like they say in the racing circles, rating himself very well. He'll throw quite a few combinations when he has him in the trouble along the ropes, and then he'll back away and relax a little bit. Then he'll go after him again, whereas Cyclone Hart earlier in the fight just tried to throw every punch he could and end it quickly. And as it turns out, he is very, very tired young fighter right now.
No more of the smiling or the cross-ring talk as Cyclone Hart has his hands full tonight with marvelous Marvin Hagler. Again, he has Hagler against the ropes, but it has not bothered Hagler getting there, as he's been able to punch his way right out of trouble each time. 20 seconds remain in round 5. Hart again trying to get Hagler against the ropes, but going in rather cautiously now. Gets a left hand in that stung Hagler up. But that's a good left hand. Counters with a right that doesn't get through. If it had, he might have really done some. There's a good right hand at the bell, and a left after the bell. Well, that's the second round that Hart has gotten Hagler clearly after the bell is.
Drop your guard and relax, and if that fighter comes in and pops you one, that could be a very damaging blow.
I bet his cornermen are warning him of that fact right now, telling him to keep those dukes up after the bell sounds to protect himself.
We just got a ruling from the judge there, Ralph. they took that round away from Eugene Cyclone Hart just because of that late punch. So they do penalize a fighter.
I'm not really sure they had the round to take away. I think he lost the round anyway.
I know,
so
but that, according to the judges at the side here, that's a third warning for him. So he could be in trouble just from penalizing.
Well, he's got Hagler in some trouble right now. Hagler bleeding from the nose, and Hart dishing out some punishment as he has Hagler against the ropes. A pretty good left hand got through, and there's a left to the midsection, and Hagler having some difficulty fighting out of it this time, as he has so successfully before. As Hart scoring heavily, especially with a left. There he gets a right high to the head of marvelous Marvin Hagler. So Cyclone Hart in the first minute of the 6th round having his best flurry, but there's a left and a right, another left, and a right and a left, and now Hart's in trouble. And Eugene fights right back. 6th round's being a dandy.
Oh, this has been the best fight of the night. Lots of action here, Ralph. Fighters standing there toe-to-toe.
Good right hand by Hart, but Hagler, clearly the stronger of the two now, pushes his man back and suddenly finds himself up against the ropes, where Hart has dished out most of his damage here in this round. Again, little pity-pat blows from both men, but they score in the official's eyes as Hagler pushes himself away from the ropes, the nose still bleeding. Hagler moving in against missing with the right hand, and Hart looks very weary now. May have punched himself out a bit here in the early part of the 6th round as Hagler battles out of the ropes. Hagler with the uppercut. Right hand jab, left hand missed by Hart. There's the right hand jab and the left. The right misses. They couldn't break a cream puff with those punches they're exchanging right now with a minute to go in round 6.
They both seem to be wanting and relaxing there and to catch their breath. I know that the corner, Eugene Hart's corner, has informed him of those 3 warnings and those rounds taken away from him, so maybe this probably was the reason why that he came out a little more zesty than he had in the last 2 rounds.
Much more so, as he gets a couple of good left hands in. Hagler now trying to punch his way again away from the ropes, but doing no damage with those blows. I don't know if he's lost the steam or what, but he is not hitting with the kind of authority he did earlier, though he is landing and scoring points with those blows. And now Hagler trying to back Hart into Hart's own corner. 15 seconds to go in the round. Good left hand by Hart. Misses with a grazing right hand. And Hagler gets Hart into the corner directly above us. Hart goes to the body. We're in the closing seconds of round 6. Let's watch now. There's the bell, and the referee steps in quickly, and no damage is done after the bell that time.
Well, Tom Reid, the referee for this evening's bout, was sitting there and
round number 7 of a scheduled 10-rounder for middleweights. Eugene Cyclone Hart in the white trunks in the left corner, and in the far corner in the dark trunks is Marvin Hagler. They meet right at center ring. Hagler a southpaw with the right hand jab, and now Hart comes in and backs his man into the corner. That's where he hurt him last round. Catching nothing but biceps with those punches and misses wildly with a left. They exchange some blows on the ropes, and Hart spins around as he misses a wild right hand. Back out into the center of the ring again. 18 feet 6 inches square, but it seems awful small when you're trying to get away from some of those punches. Again, Hagler backed up against the ropes. That clearly is Hart's strategy now, is to back his man into the corner. Left hand lands. Not with a whole lot of steam, though.
Gene Hart's getting the instruction from his corner here, Ralph, and they keep saying, go to the body, and they want him to keep punching, build up those points, seeing that he's had 3 rounds taken away from warnings and penalization after the late blows after the bell had rung.
Hart seems to have gotten a little second wind, but is still a weary boxer. Both men tired a bit from that last round that was the fastest pace of the entire fight. We're in round 7, approaching the midway point of it. Hagler with his back to us. They exchange scoring blows. Hart in pursuit of his man in the white trunks. Cyclone Hart from North Philadelphia in his 7th year as a pro. Still striving to get to the top rung of his sport. He badly needs a win tonight. Oh, 2 good right hand jabs by Marvelous Marvin.
Hagler seems to be very confident right now, Ralph. You know, we got 3 more rounds, or 4 more counting this one, and he seems that he knows that he's in control of the fight just through these penalizations. But Cyclone Hart seems to be a very anxious fighter, and he just can't muster enough steam to get after him.
Every now and then he seems to be on the point of total exhaustion, then he'll come back. Right now is one of those periods where Hart looks very tired.
Looks like he could blow him over right now, the way, you know, with the fatigue look on his face.
At one point 2 rounds ago, Hagler gave Hart a push and almost pushed him down. It was just a gentle shove, really. But just when we thought Hart was so terribly exhausted, he bounced back and had his best round in round 6. So you never know. 30 seconds remain in round 7.
You know, with the amount of punches that have been thrown and all the work that the fighters have been doing, and it has been a good fight up to now, that it's no wonder that they're tired. You know, boy, it's tough time, this boxing. You know, I know that I talked to Schultze, he goes for about 30 seconds, and he's tired. He tires him out for a whole game, and these boxers have to be superbly conditioned athletes to keep this up for 10 rounds.
Hart with a couple of good left hands to the body in the corner. Once again, Hagler is leading from the nose as the bell sounds to end round 7. Not a whole lot to choose between these 2 guys in that particular round, as both men are very, very weary. I think both Hagler and Hart still feeling the effects of a very vigorous exercise in round
tonight.
Okay, Hagler is up and waiting the bell for round 8. Hart, hearing the bell, gets up himself. They go to the center of the ring. Still anybody's fight. Although Hagler would seem to be the leader on points at this point. But with 3 rounds to go, anything can yet happen.
You know, and especially with both fighters being tired, you know, your resistance is a little bit lower to that good punch to the head, and that now is when the heart comes through. See who has the strongest and the biggest heart to stay in there after a good shot.
And when you get weary, you're more apt to make a serious error and leave yourself open and vulnerable to a damaging blow. Hart on the right of your screen in the white trunks. Hagler now with his back to you. Circling to his right, circling away from Hart's right hand.
Hart's guard has dropped considerably. You know, I know his corner wants him to keep those hands up high, and he's carrying them right around his waist, which leaves himself wide open for that quick jab of Marvelous Marvin.
Hagler still seems to be the stronger, the fresher of the 2. It's a very relative bit of terminology there at this point, because both men are weary. Less than 2 minutes remain in round number 8. The pace has slowed considerably after a great 6th round, which both men seem to have given much of what they had to give tonight. Up on his toes and showing much better movement. Hagler able to do, or the Hart able to do so only in brief spurts, as he is right now. Then he almost stumbles after his man. Part of that is style. It goes to the body, comes up with the left hand that stung his man, and Hart, just when you think he's got nothing left, comes up with a spurt like that and goes right after his man with a right and then a left. Goes to the body. Blood pouring out of the nose of Hagler now. The men exchange blows to the body, and a pretty good left hand from Hart gets through. Hart stalking his man now. Less than a minute to go in round 8.
The crowd's starting to come alive here too, and I think maybe this might spur Cyclone on a little bit here. He sure needs something right now, because he is one tired fighter. They both are.
Now, stamina may be the key before this one is over. Some breathing difficulty, I believe, now for Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Hart so tired after giving all those punches just a minute ago. Waiting for the bell. It's 15 seconds away. A long 15 seconds for these 2 fellas, believe me. Hagler wants Hart to come after him. Hart wants to sit down for 60 seconds. He'll get to right about now. Hart looks to the crowd, walks to the far ropes. I'm not even sure he's dead sure what's going on. He says he's okay, and his corner man shoves him into his corner. Not so happy. So I'll tell you,
There's a shot at the
not
corner.
getting along with anybody.
Holy cow, he is an upset young man. I think he went over there to kind of motion to the judges, but here he comes again. I think he's probably upset over the ruling when he took those 3 rounds away from him. This could probably run the telling effect now. He's very upset with referee Tom Reid right now. So you can see him and his cornermen are trying to talk him into it.
They just say, do you want to fight or not? And Eugene, very, very unhappy and not getting along with manager Jimmy Jacobs or trainer Sam Solomon, much less his opponent Marvin Hagler, and they're going to call it a fight and award it to Marvin Hagler.
This is a very unusual. I know he wasn't hurt or anything. I think he's just a very discouraged young man because of all his penalties that he did receive from the judges.
He was obviously a tired fighter, but not a hurt fighter. I don't know if he went over to the far side of the ring and says, I quit, or I'm going to quit. Maybe he did that.
That must be. He went over for something, and he just said to hell with it. I guess he just didn't want to fight.
So Eugene Cyclone Hart calls it quits after 8 rounds, not answering the bell for the 9th. And Marvin Hagler now waving the American flag as he walks around the ring. And here's Malcolm Ford with a final and official announcement. They're saying unable to answer the bell for the 9th round. I think unwilling is better put.
I guess they're going to rule that a TKO for Marvin Hagler. So this is a very, I've never seen this happen before, Ralph, where a fighter, because he wasn't hurt at all by Marvin Hagler.
By my card, he actually won the 8th round. If not, it was certainly very, very close. So it's a difficult one to figure.
It's very difficult one to figure here. I can't understand it. Maybe we can get some information later on, but he just said, that's it. Maybe he's a little bit disgusted with what we heard earlier when the referees took away the 3 rounds from him because of penalties and late hitting after the bell. But
I heard his handlers ask him if he wanted to go on and fight or not, and I thought they were really asking the question more figuratively than literally. And they were obviously asking him literally, does he want to fight anymore? And he's still seated directly above us, and he'd had enough. He was too angry and too upset, and it's going to be a while, I would guess, before Cyclone Hart fights again in Philadelphia. They're going to have to take him on the road, as you suggested earlier.
I would think it's probably going to be a while before Cyclone Hart is even going to want to fight again. He seems very discouraged and very upset with his cornermen. If he's going to fight, you would think that he might change handlers or something, but that is a very puzzling turn of events here tonight.
So it goes in the book as a TKO, with Eugene Cyclone Hart of Philadelphia unable to answer the bell for the 9th round, and Marvin Hagler coming up with the victory.